Ah, yes. As I indicated on the cover of this, I hope, I want to do a kind of a projection for this month in April, as well as to catch anybody up that's, I've been kind of on this path for a few years now, and people that know me have seen whatever the changes are, but that's okay. Everybody's got to catch up. So you have to start with reincarnation. You have to start there. If you don't start there, then you just have a life insurance policy because we believe in death. And it's all tied to things I'm going to tell you. But first, I'll keep sort of a foreshadowing and guarantees of things are going to happen in April. And it's a really interesting transitional month for us. So here it goes. Okay, so I'll stay on the big numbers first and then I'll talk all around them. So we'll stick to the big things coming in April. First of all, Archangel Michael, the angel of unconditional love, who's at your south flank. He's a member of the Seraphim. That's like pretty high up there as far as angels go. And your goal is to have a seraphic heart. And you do that by dedicating yourself to your best version and to the creator that wants you to be that. It's in you. It's in your third eye. First person. And so your body's comprised of many more glands and organs. And ask yourself how they got there. Why does every human lay out the same way? Why do the animals look? Ask yourself fundamental, stupefying questions. And then say, we're the firstborn. We can actually communicate about it. And most of the time makes sense, but words will confuse you very quickly. The less that are spoken, the better. Like I said. So, on 12 April in Brazil, Brazil's a sacred place. They have huge crystal deposits there. And there's a call for co-meditation in that window. Because on that day, if you have your catcher's mitt on and you start to play catching up with where I am, vibrationally speaking, I'll explain. We're 98% dormant in our DNA, and we've got 12 strands plus or whatever to know about, and we've got 2 going right now. So translate that into dimensions in terms of measured realities and quantum beyond that as to what we're entitled to, because we have really been suffering down here on this planet, and we have to get rid of suffering. It's that bad. We vote for the fallen angels, we pay tax for them, to them, and then they take it and do whatever they want with it. We get new roads and blah blah blah, but the amount that they're given versus what's done for our needs is, it all goes to the wars. So 12 April is going to be a big day. 12/12 was the signature going in. We have 12 chakra. In fact, I noticed that this new moon on the 20th will be at 12/12. I'm guessing that's Greenwich Mean Time. I didn't take a close look, but that's what it said on Google when I looked for this date. Everything happens, big things we were told months and months ago. Every time there's a new moon, the energy is special and will be given benefit from it. So if you've been missing all this, it's just a matter of being aware. For example, last year we went from 666 carbon to 616 as a fundamental. The carbon atom, that's the atomic number. So 5 neutrons were dropped, and for that reason we're supposed to be drinking water. So I'll talk about the other two big dates, the two middle dates here in a second. What's going on? I know we don't pay attention to the stars, but we're in an ascension window right now because there's 12 constellations out there, and when the Earth does you spin a top as a kid, and when this top's spinning, make believe it's spinning really fast. It's pivoting like this, going around. So that's called a precession. And every time the Earth makes a precession, it's roughly 2,000 years, a little more. And then every time it hits, let's say 12 o'clock on its move, the Earth has moved along, so it's pointing at a new one. Leo or Aries or whatever, Pisces. So those are called ages because it takes that long for the thing to get around. That's the distance between two constellations is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a full cycle, like the bike went all the way around. It just so happens that if you ask a scientist, they'll say, yeah, it's on one of these hits. So it's 3 cycles of ages that we're at right now. And back then, the Pacific Ocean was above the ground and we lived on it. And you'll do past life experiences where you'll find that out because you must have been somewhere. If you weren't on Earth, you were somewhere else counting flying saucers. We're intergalactic beings, and we chose this particular ride, and it's the only one you know, so that's why it's a little freaky for me to be telling you this, but you got to accept it. So that roughly explains the way that these things are cycled, but know that when it comes to counting orbits and cycles of the sun that are calculated, it appears as though that it doesn't appear, they do. They use the constellation Ophiuchus as a hidden one back kind of a thing. And I remember the person that invented that or spotted that, his name's Schmidt. It automatically made me think of Max Schmidt, the master. You have infinite versions of yourself. So it doesn't matter what decisions you've made, if you're breathing, if you love it here, if you want to be the best version of you, that's where we're going. So the golden age began with the rising of the Lionsgate portal on 26 July 2021. 2021 was kind of the big window year because Prince Philip was the last human who isn't permitted to, he can't come back again. He's gone to another setup at Max 0647. He's jettisoned himself out there. And so that was in April 2021. This leads me to where we are now. And on 17 April, for the second time, the people that make our lives miserable, the beings, they're not only people, dimensionally speaking, they're being asked to leave and they have to go. They were asked before on Christmas Eve to go to Andromeda B, catch up to, I would assume they can go catch up to Philip. But this is to be determined. It's going to be, they may accept this offer so they can all stick together and go live their new storyboard. But they can't negatively steal our light. That's what they do. We vote for them. We're God. We're taught the Bible. We're taught words. We're just in fiction land down here. We don't know who we are. And that's why Yeshua said, you're in poverty. The universe is inside you. So it's meditating, all the things there are to learn about that. And we don't do it here. So I'm explaining, you got to make these little changes. It doesn't need to be like a dramatic thing, but you'll find that, as you've probably learned before, when you try and eat a little bit less, your stomach tightens up, and it takes time to lose weight because that first 10 days you work hard, it doesn't go anywhere. Well, our diet's going to fix everything. So to speak about our diet very quickly, we have to go vegan and smart food with taste. That is second density consciousness. Seeds and fruit from trees and things that grow out of the ground, essentially, is what it is. Now, there are things like goat's milk that have attributes, and I'm not arguing any of that. There's probably stuff that's great for you that's not, this orthodox definition that I'm giving to you, but I'm explaining that that's the general guidance. Chia seeds are smart. They're not filling, but they're smart. If you want to get to a point where you are incredible, then this is the way to do it. So, to use a battery analogy, this is it right here, the two circles. Make believe there's a tube there. In the middle is pasta, rice, and potatoes as the filler extra thing on the plate that's next to the big thing. Up on top, vegetables, green stuff, the stuff that's in our salads, with the sauce, with garlic, with flavors, with pepper. Cheese is out. Cheese is acid. Acid is carbs. We are carbon beings. And carbon is way deep down in our triad. And we're going to be moving it out with water. It's way down the road. But I'm telling you, we've left and we're on our way. I weigh under 120 now, and I was like 150 over at my peak. I was over 160, but I'm saying 140 to 150, past 30 years. And so this is all coming to pass, guys. I'm going to be immortal. Okay, I've talked about the offer that's been made to these guys. It's the Anunnaki, the reptiles. This is in their raw form. Anunnaki, reptilian, Greys, and the Draco are up there with whatever their choice of suit is with eyeballs in it. Up in Draco Land and Beetlejuice, whatever they look like, they fit in here. Putting suits on in the mix, but they're not a part of our collective, so they're not in the mix. Cohabitating here. The greedy ones, the ones that are on the other side of the stage that are like, oh, they've had it made. Well, they better be careful about that. That's where it says it's harder for that rich man to get into heaven because they're greedy rich. You can be rich and be a giving king. Okay, so I'll keep going here. I don't want to make it too long. 15 April, no more taxes. You have to take your power back. Every penny that you give them is ill spent, and it's the equivalent of casting a vote, because you're paying an intermediary and you technically don't know where the money's going to go because they're elected. So see it that way, and then with a new mindset, we'll have trading of storage of value. We can retain hard money. The paper's going to burn. This e-currency thing they're doing with the bank right now is a death sentence, and it's going to be a hard one. Probably financially hard and emotionally hard and mind, body, spirit. Who needs it? Get out in the fresh air and love nature and see where it's going to take us. Because we're here right now and you don't know what the universe is like. I mean, it's fun to think about. So when you start talking about a refined diet, you're talking about the Essene way. They had a quarter of the temple in Jerusalem, and that was like a semi-city. So you had a bazaar, you had fragrances, and it was a little bit culturally different in Jerusalem, and that's where Yeshua was from. They preserved Judaic purity, the Essene way. He was born on Tishri on 9/11, which is an agriculture day. It's about corn and eating rooted consciousness. It's always been like that, but we've just been corrupted. The lion will lay down with the lamb. So you thank the water. Yeshua's present in the water. Wedding feast of Cana was him. I've experienced it. Just to know it's there, and when you drink water, you thank it. Not only because it's serving to fill your neutrons, but it's consciousness. We are the water. We are the light. He was the light. We are the light. Hold your light. Retain your crown. If you vaccinated, you need to work on that issue. Okay, I got some light disparity there, but we're back on track. All right, get some clarity here. Come on now. Let's see what I can do. There we go. All right, so I've said enough about things. The last thing that I'll talk to is densities. I've talked about it before, and I just wrote them on the column here, so they're not really tied to the paper, but they ascend. And it's us. You had this experience. First density, I'm just going to run through them. 1.1 is Metatron. It's everything times 1 is itself. It's Aurora Borealis. It's particles of light that are out there. It's 1.1. It's the filler that's in the space. 1.1. And then, angelically, that's managed. Our Creator's ordained angels. Okay, you do it. And it's a team effort. Whoop. And responsibility is loved and claimed and identified. And we go forth. So everybody's got an assignment. And in bilocation, it self-assembles. Everybody's thankful and moving it along, and everything's easy. So that's 1.1. 1.2 is protons, neutrons, and electrons assembled in an order. Up to carbon. If it's got an atomic number, it's 1.2. 1.3 is the wind. 1.4 is fire. 1.5 is the water. Water special. Fire is special, and wind is special. I think wind and fire are special because they're true elements. Like, you can't really grab them materially. They're a form of gas, but water can be gas too. Fire is just special because of its destructive capacity. We know that. So that's 1.4. 1.5 is water. 1.6 is rocks. How are they all held together as different shapes? Well, there's a negative energy feature called lambda that we don't have instruments for. It's disordinal. So at 1.7, it's soil, and then you hit a crossover because it's in octaves. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now you're into the seeds that we talked about. Cyclical life. Run that up through 1.2 is plants. 1.3 is, 2.2 is plants. 3 is trees. 4 is really insects, if you want to just broaden it out. 5 is fish. 6 is animals of all sorts. And then 7 are domestic pets. So that's a whole nother bandwidth at the second density. And then when you hit third density, it's us. You sit on your butt. You comfortable being here? That's your red chakra. 3.1 is a walking, talking, earth-breathing voter who's eligible for fourth density. That's the whole purpose I wrote this down for. When you wake up, just to run through your chakra, you've got its energy management of how you feel. Down low, your anus is down there you can do Tesla numbers. Be down to 396 or whatever it takes to know that it's a resonance that aligns with your comfort in the fact that you go to the bathroom and somebody might see you doing it. Get over it. We all do it. We're private. We're shocked if anybody cracks the door, and we're messed up because animals don't do that. So somehow, of course, we're not quite that. We're sensitive, but there's a balance of normalcy. People just get weird. Toilet paper disappears off the shelves. We're hypnotized. Why toilet paper disappears? Huh? Well, we kind of know, but why? Greed? Fear? It's your mantra. Toilet paper. Toilet paper. Ventilator. So, at this point, when you're a third density being, again, your anus is 3.1. Your sacral chakra is 3.2. That's orange. Your wind chakra is 3.3. Remember, wind, your solar plexus, wind, lungs, solar plexus, that's all aligned at 3.3. And then at 3.4, that's your heart, and that's fire. 3.5 is your throat, and that's water, to get back to first density. 3.6 is your pineal gland, that's our creator, and that's formed at first density as a rock. But Yeshua would say, hey, you're coal right now. And our job is to refine ourselves to be a diamond so that your pineal gland has no fluoride on it and is perfectly clear and biochemically functional with the rest of your brain and the rest of your body. And then you're golden. You have divine love and wisdom because you cared enough to take care of yourself. And she was in there. And it's a part of your body. You can feel your presence all over. And Abun is everywhere. Sophia in English. From womb, from nothing. It will always be a mystery until we know, and then we're entitled to participate on the non-mystery side. But what a ride it is, and it'll continue to be, because you didn't know any of this. There are people that knew more than this. So, making the move from third to fourth density is awareness. Suddenly that transition goes from, let's spin it around, now you're fourth density. So your new first octave energy center is your heart. This is awareness. It's a gift from our Creator. It beats, it pushes the blood all around it. It's got a mind of its own. Your heart has a mind of its own. I'm aiming my hand like this for a reason, because it's a connection to your high self that should be a way of looking at the way you communicate, because your high self is over here and this is your ego. Just that's the way we're all set up. So that's 4.1 is your heart. 4.2, you're back down to your wind again. 2 and 3, because we learned we got a shot. Well, the old orange 3.2 is the new is the new 4.3, because our chest is supposed to be expanding. So you're putting ego to bed and you're expanding your capacity down there. Now I remember Tim Weil saying that we received a kind of a bonus chakra that he had connected out to the angels. He's got a very detailed alignment of the chakra system that's very consistent. And I believe he said there's an 8th chakra that's been reignited in us from Atlantis because of the majestical capacities that we had in the gifts. So in order to have them, you have to have the energy center to work them. We're going to be able to do healing of each other, just like nature heals us now. So that's second and third density octaves and 4th density. Once you get to 4.4, you start getting into going back up again and the exploration of your high self. You know, we're in it for 1,000 years. We're going to bilocation at 4.5. We hit that in a social memory complex. Use the analogy of a bag of popcorn. When every kernel in the bag is popped from being coached or being hit by Yeshua with the perfect, or one of the angels, Uriel, I always, the silver light, because Uriel's out front, right? The last lawnmower, nobody, they're all moving, I don't care. You're coming too, we love you. Hopefully it'll be like that, but everybody's got free will. You can be aware, and you still have to keep that love up and keep your companionship with Source up. Because once you tuck it away, people are going to know where you're going, and if you go, you go. So don't go, because it's better this way. It beats the hell out of freezing and starving and Mr. Scrooge getting knocked out. I love everybody. I hope you learned something. Peace.